This is the Marfan Syndrome paper slide by Melina Bazuband,
Joey Schifano,
Elizabeth Jackson. Marfan syndrome is inherited in an autosomal dominant pattern. This means one copy of the changed gene in each cell can cause a disorder. There are no carriers for autosomal dominant disorders since the dominant allele takes over the recessive allele. The disease is usually inherited from a parent who has Marfan syndrome, but sometimes the disorder will result in people with no history of the disorder in the family.
characteristics and symptoms. People affected with Marfan syndrome are very tall and skinny with very long arms, legs, fingers, and toes. There is also a possibility of scoliosis, indented chest, aortic enlargement, tear, or rupture, and a dislocated lens. Marfan syndrome affects the connective tissue, heart, eyes, blood vessels, and skeleton. Marfan syndrome affects everyone differently, even if they are in the same family. Treatment. Marfan syndrome is not curable, but treatment helps regulate the symptoms. With modern medicine, people affected with Marfan syndrome can live a normal lifespan. Prescription blood-lowering medications such as losartan can keep the aorta from enlarging and minimize the risk of rupture to tear. The drugs have side effects such as diarrhea, stomach pain, muscle cramps, leg or back pain, insomnia, dizziness, fatigue, cold and flu symptoms, and losartan costs between $10 and $20, assuming you have health insurance. Surgeries can also help. There are different depending on which symptoms you have. These surgeries could be aortic repair, scoliosis surgery, breastbone correction, eye surgery, and more. These surgeries each have their own risks, and they can cost between $2,000 to $200,000. The smaller surgeries cost less.
About 1 in 5,000 people have Marfan syndrome. This ratio includes men and women of all races and ethnic groups. They are all equally at risk of Marfan syndrome.
An interesting fact is if blood vessels that carry blood from the heart is affected, it could be life-threatening. Flo Hyman was an Olympic volleyball player. She never knew she had Marfan syndrome until she got a heart attack caused by the disorder and died. Michael Phelps is another rumored person to have Marfan syndrome. He shows all the symptoms, but claims not to have it. He goes to the doctor yearly to get checked for the disorder.
The Marfan Foundation is an organization that advocates with members of Congress and the National Institutes of Health for more awareness of Marfan syndrome. It is established to promote research on treatment of Marfan syndrome. There is not a cure for this disorder, but treatments like blood pressure medication can be prescribed. The organization was founded by Priscilla Cicierello and D. Reed E. Riartis. They are doing this research in Port Washington, New York. These are some of the sources that we got our information from.
Thank you for watching the Marfan Syndrome paper slides by Melina Bazuband,
Joey Schifano,
Elizabeth Jackson.